Hello everyone, welcome to our video lesson. Today we will be discussing illustrating triangle congruence. So here we have picture of trusses, a kite, a boat, and a bridge. Can you guess what is common in the four pictures? If your answer is triangle, you are correct. So triangles can be seen a lot in our home, in our school, and even in our community. We can see a lot of triangles. Why triangles? Well, triangles are special because they are exceptionally strong. Triangle is rigid. All other shapes can be deformed with a simple push. Triangles are also special because they are the simplest polygon. And triangles, the simple shapes that makes our mathematical, physical, and digital worlds go around. So let's recall the parts of the triangle. So the vertices of this triangle, we have vertex X, vertex T, vertex O, and vertex R. For the angles, we have angle T, angle O, and angle R. For the sides, we have line TO, line OR, and line RT. So those are the parts of the triangle. Now, let us discuss about the correspondence or corresponding parts of the triangle. So definition of correspondence means pairing the parts of one group to the parts of another group is called correspondence. Correspondence uses the notation or this symbol, double-headed arrow. Now we have here two triangles. As you can see, we have vertices. For the first triangle, we have vertices N, A, and T. And for the second one, we have G, E, and O. So assume that triangle NAT coincides with triangle GEO such that the vertices of triangle NAT fit exactly over the vertices of triangle GEO. The correspondence can be created between triangles. So we have here triangle NAT corresponds to triangle GEO. So the corresponding parts, we have N corresponds to G. We have A corresponds to E. And we have T corresponds to O. Now in this correspondence, there are three pairs of corresponding vertices, angles, and sides. So we have here the list of all the corresponding pairs. So we have here N corresponds to G, A corresponds to E, T corresponds to O. For the angles, we have angle N corresponds to angle G, angle A corresponds to angle E, angle T corresponds to angle O. For the corresponding sides, we have side NA corresponds to side GE, side AT corresponds to side EO, and side NT corresponds to side GO. So since the vertices of the triangle NAT fit exactly with the vertices of triangle GEO, therefore triangle NAT and triangle GEO are congruent. So here is the symbol for the congruent triangles. Now, what is meant by congruent triangles? So definition of congruent triangles, two triangles are congruent if and only if the corresponding sides and the corresponding angles are congruent. Let us examine this triangle. We have triangle BAC. So let's write it here, triangle BAC. And triangle JHK. Triangle JHK. Now let's identify the corresponding parts. So B corresponds to J, A corresponds to H, and C corresponds to K. Now after identifying the corresponding parts, let us identify if the corresponding parts are congruent to the other triangle. Okay, so let's say, let's see first for the corresponding sides. So we have side BA and side JH. Now let us look at our illustration. Side BA and side JH, are they congruent? Since they are corresponding, and as you can see in the illustration, we have single markings here. So therefore, these sides are congruent. So we can put a symbol like this, equal with tilde at the top of the equal symbol. Next side, let's say side AC and side HK. Now going back to our illustration, side AC we have 3 markings and side HK we have also 3 markings. Therefore, they are congruent. Next is side CB and side KJ. Looking at our illustration, side CB has 2 markings and side KJ has also 2 markings. Therefore, they are congruent. Now we are done with the corresponding sides. As we can see, all the corresponding sides are congruent. What about the corresponding angles? So let's write here, corresponding angles. So let's identify the corresponding angles. We have angle B and angle J. Looking at our angle B, we have single marking, and angle J, we have also single marking. Okay, so both single marking, so they are congruent. Next, angle A and angle H. Looking at our illustration, angle H has 2 markings, and angle A has also 2 markings. Therefore, they are congruent. And angle C and angle K. So both have 3 markings, therefore they are congruent. So as you can see, the corresponding sides and the corresponding angles are congruent. Therefore, we can say that the 2 triangles are congruent. Okay, so that is the definition of congruent triangles. Looking at the corresponding sides and the corresponding angles and checking if they are congruent. If the corresponding sides and corresponding angles are congruent, then we can conclude that the 2 triangles are congruent. Hence, we can use the symbol triangle BAC is congruent to triangle JHK. Now, let's have another example. So, are the triangles congruent? So, let's identify first the name of the triangle. So we can name the triangle. Let's start at the center. So triangle C going to B, going to A. And we have also the other triangle from C also, going to D, going to E. Now it is important to align the corresponding parts. As you can see, we aligned already corresponding parts. We can easily see the corresponding sides and corresponding angles. Now let's start with corresponding angles, CA. So we have angle C and angle D. Let's look at our illustration. Angle C and angle C. Okay? So since they're both angle C, so we can say that these angles are congruent because of the vertical angles. In our previous lesson, the vertical angles are congruent. Okay, let's have another one. We have angle B and angle D. So angle B, we have 2 markings. Angle D, we have 2 markings. Therefore, they are congruent. Now, let's proceed with angle A and angle E. So angle A, we have single markings. Angle E, we have single markings. So they are congruent. Now let's proceed with the corresponding sides. Since all the corresponding angles are congruent, let's check if the corresponding sides are congruent. So corresponding sides, we have side CB and side CD. So side CB is 4, CD is 4, so they are congruent. Next is side BA and side DE. Okay? So side BA, we have single marking. Side DE, we have single marking, so they are congruent. And side AC and side EC. So let's see if they are congruent. Side AC is 6 units. Side EC is 6 units also. So we have congruent sides. So since all the corresponding angles and all the corresponding sides are congruent, therefore, we can conclude that triangle CBA is congruent to triangle CDE. Okay, so I hope that you understand our lesson. For your activity, kindly answer this one, test your understanding, copy and answer in your notebook, as well as this one. Okay, so good luck with your activity. That's all for today. Thank you. God bless. See you next time. Goodbye.